It is Saturday night. We are starting our weekend of racing here in Division 3. We are in Zandvoort in Netherlands. Quite a fun track with the classic banked corners that we have here. 14 corners here, 10 to the left and 4 to the right. Division 3 action already underway. I had a little bit of a delay due to the stream. Usually it's myself, Papster, your host, but it's John Ranger covering for him with Combined YouTuber. We're got a little under 9 minutes to go combined, and we've got Big Mama Frank, Joseph Huerta, who is reserving in a Red Bull tonight. Currently on pole, but a 109.3. Dr. So Good, that's Cole Cummins, I believe. DLP in P2, Rigraf in P3, Hokage Rolde P4, and a reserve driver in an Alfa Romeo, Duncan, Aiden Duncan, P5 currently. I believe he's on a fast lap as well, so gotta keep track on him as well. Combined, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, yep. Looking forward to this one with Zandvoort being... I mean, it's not the best track to overtake, but you still have some good battling on the straights. Also, I don't think Big Mama Frank is reserving.
Is he? I thought the attendance said... Oh no, he's reserving in Division 2, actually. My bad. That's what I thought it was. Yeah, he's reserving in Division 2. Yeah, thank you for correcting me.
We got Duncan 4-5, whatever. And the Williams down in 14th is also a reserve. And also Fitznickwell in the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, look at that. Fitz, who's ex-team principal of AlphaTauri. By the way, Duncan, who just pulled a 109.4, so he's not very far off of Big Mama Frank there. So a reserve driver who's not played in many, many months. Ex-teammate of mine in Red Bull, by the way. And, we had a little bit of a chat before this race. And, it looked like his pace was good already. And he's out there up front. There's only 14 drivers tonight. A little bit disappointing having so many of the regular drivers not showing in Zandvoort. And there's also missing drivers in Division 2 as far as I can tell. So I don't know if it's just drivers, being a little bit chicken with Zandvoort. I don't know if they're intimidated by those bank corners or if it's just,
I guess people are just busy. People are probably just busy.
Yeah, that probably. Shrai gets in on a 108.8, so he's the first driver, given the track evolution, to go into the 108s. I suppose more drivers are going to join him into the 108s, but if you get yourself into the 108 times, you're in a good position for, I would assume, a top 5 position would get into 108s, probably. But
it's a pretty good time. It is a pretty good lap time. Also, forgot to say Rigraf is reserving again, and he's in the Mercedes this time.
Yeah, Rigraf. I think 2 seasons ago, I believe he won the Drivers' Championship in the Ferrari, or was a runner-up, one or the other, but he had done really, really well in Division 3. And so now reserving in a Mercedes, so far having put it up in 6th position. So a good number of reserves. Doctor's So Good. Is that the other Cummins brothers? I know there's Cole Cummins in the Red Bull. Is that Christian Cummins in the Alpine? Currently sitting P2, I believe. Oh, there's a Williams, by the way. I don't know if that's the... Yeah, it's Williams of Duels. No idea who that is. So welcome.
A new driver, it seems. He has no front wing at all.
Yeah, exactly. New driver. Maybe he's not aware of all the rules here, but you are supposed to do your qualifying lap with front wing, and that is maybe some impeding there on being smack in the middle of the track. I believe Christian Cummins was trying to get by him. Or was that the other... Is there another Alpine? No, it was the Alpine of Christian Cummins, I believe.
Chonk.
Or Chonk. Yeah, it was Chonk. I don't know if Chonk is starting his fast lap, or it looks like he's starting it, so I don't know if that was properly impeding, but yeah, just gotta be careful getting out of the way there. Combined, we've got about 5 minutes to go in this short qualifying session. What do you think the race strategies is gonna be tonight?
Well, tires overheat here, so I'd say maybe mediums hards will be used.
Yeah, seems like that could be medium hards, mediums.
Yeah.
If you can make the hards work for a long time, because at some point the degradation seems to stabilize a little bit on the hards, maybe hard to softs. But that I think that's something we might see maybe in Division 2, Division 1. I don't know if Division 3 will see that kind of strategy. It'll all depend on how these guys are able to, well, for one, keep their car on the track. Zandvoort, now, obviously I'm comparing with last season's, and that was the last season's game, F122, commentating in Division 1, but even the Division 1 drivers, pushing their cars on track and qualifying, you saw a lot of spins. So, F123, you feel like you have a lot more grip, you feel very confident, but you gotta be careful as the threshold is really, really light to having those cars spin, especially once you get tire wear and the tire degradation, as you mentioned. The tire overheats, the degradation's rather high here. It is also uneven. A little bit difficult getting the tire wear to be even across all 4 tires. It seems, at least in my practice sessions, maybe I have it wrong on my end, but on my practice sessions, I've noticed the fronts tend to use up a little more than the rears. So, that tends to cause that tail end to get a little bit swifty, and these guys gotta, make sure they get themselves into clean races in order to get good results.
Yeah, and I think hard soft, about the hard soft, I think that will only be done by people that can save tyres very well. I'm not sure who can do that here. But yeah, maybe the faster drivers can do it.
Yeah, most definitely. Ben going off in turn 1 seems like he's outbraked himself. I don't see any major damage on his wing. It doesn't seem so. Another thing, I don't know if it's been the same for you combined, but fuel usage seems rather high. It's difficult to lift and coast or find the proper areas to lift and coast here. I was got a sector flag by Hokage, and I think he was just moving out of the way for drivers behind him. Good sportsmanship from him. Yeah, so back to fuel usage. I think you got to overfuel quite a lot. You can't just fuel equal or just one lap over. I think you're gonna run out of fuel, and hopefully these guys did their homework during the week, because they'll be in it for a terrible surprise if they don't adjust that for the race.
Yes, fuel does get used a lot here, even in the previous games that happened. So that is definitely a factor. Around short tracks, it seems to be a thing.
Yeah, short tracks, and Zandvoort being, I mean, it's a short track,
Sure.
but there's not a lot of corners where you'll literally just lift and coast, or you could take it easy. It seems to be very much pedal to the metal almost the entire time. So yeah, not a lot of options here to coast and save on fuel. Same thing again with the ERS, right? The battery does not really regenerate very much on this track, and which is another challenge here in Zandvoort. And let's add that to the fact that the main DRS zone, as there's a Red Bull that went around while we're watching Hokage Rodi do his fast time here. There's definitely a challenge with the DRS zone at the main straight, at the pit straight. It's extended, so it starts at the very between turns for 13 and 14, basically. So that combined with the fact that the game is the slipstream effect is felt a lot stronger. It's quite obvious here that overtaking will be done a lot during that on that straight and the turn 1 basically. But then, like you mentioned, combined a lot of very difficult to overtake elsewhere on this track.
Yeah, but there's 2 DRS zones, but the main one
Yeah.
is that one you mentioned on the pit straight. Going for a move into the chicane would be...
Oh, that's a risky move for sure. Yeah.
Would be based on how much quicker you are. You have to be a lot quicker than the car in front of you.
Yeah, you have to make sure you get into that chicane before the car. You want to get a move made into the entry of that chicane and not coming out of that exit. Is very tight. We've seen a lot of contacts going there, and the contacts are not very forgiving as there's not a lot of runoff. You get into the wall easily, and it is already the end of qualifying. I was expecting a lot of drivers to improve on their times. It didn't really happen combined. Ed Schreier is going to start on pole in the Haas with a 108.8, and he's the only driver having put his car into the 108s. Rick Raff is starting P2 with a 109.2, and just 5 thousandths behind him, P3 goes to Hokage Rodi, so he's starting on the on the
That's
second
insane
row.
quality That's insane quality from Hokage.
Yeah, Hokage definitely great, great lap we watched from him while we were discussing our strategies. Christian Cummins in P4, Big Mama Frank in P5 currently, and NVA P6. We have Fitz Dickwell reserving, Duncan reserving 7 and 8. Cole Cummins and the other Red Bull is 9, Leo Hudson 10. Ben, Josh Barnsley, Kaiser, as we said on the screen, P12, followed by Chonk. And Duels who's 5 seconds behind pace currently. So let's see if he's got some race pace in him. Maybe he just got unlucky, a little bit of nerves, and that got his Williams facing maybe the wrong way of the track a couple times here. I did pull up the standings real quick, Combine. I don't know if you want to walk us through the standings in a quick minute or two.
Oh yeah. So Shrai is still your championship leader, despite the last race where he had he caused a collision on the last corner, last lap in the last race in Spa, but he's still the championship leader by 4 points from Big Mama Frank in P2. Labib is P3, but he's not here today. Jolguron P4, but he's also not here today. So there's a lot of people not here today.
Yep.
Leocratus in the top 5 P5, then MVA, Leo Hudson, Aero, Cole Cummins, Logan completing the top 10 right now. Aaron Green has actually dropped out of the season, so we won't be seeing him anymore this season. Some data from Aston Martin there.
Yeah.
Sad to see. Kushi, Kamari Mac, Christian Cummins, Josh Bunsley, Hokage, Florida, Ben, Chonk, and James in the McLaren. But yeah, Shai still ahead by 4 points despite that incident from last race, giving him a penalty. So we'll see. He's on pole by 4/10, a significant advantage. Let's see if he can convert that to a win and extend that lead.
That's a great showing for him in qualifying there. So that's his goal. He wants to extend that lead. He's got the chance to do so, given the fact that drivers like Labib, Luke Riders, Joe Garon are not there. And he's probably rejoicing that the fact that for now, Big Mama Frank, Joseph Herrera, is starting only in P5. The follow-up to the lead of Shrai. Sometime during the race, Combined will look into the Constructors' Championship real quick. We'll try to figure out what kind of points is going for them. But real quick, if I pull them up, it's a great battle in the top 3. There's 3 points between Mercedes, and we got a tie in Red Bull and Alfa Romeo. And as I was really hoping it didn't happen, the game threw me in a car. So I'm gonna have to find a way to park it real quick. Yeah, because given the situation, the lobby started and I joined in the middle of the session. So I'm gonna turn on my Xbox controller, and
oh my god,
I'm gonna try. I'm just going to park it in turn 1, but you're going to have a live view and commentating from a driver, right? I am not hitting straight strategy. I'm not putting up my setup. I'm not showing anybody none of my stuff. I'm literally just, going to commentate it, try to be safe. I'm going to go in the gravel in turn 1 and just exit my car from there. Hopefully that does not cause any more issues, so I could go back into spectator mode and broadcast it properly. But yeah, the game wanted me in there, so...
You got promoted to Ferrari from Haas.
I don't know if that would actually be a promotion at this point. I'd rather be in my little pit.
Okay, that's actually a good point. Anyway, the light's coming on now for the Dutch Grand Prix round 6 of the season. We are away. Shai gets a very good start there, as Rigraf actually is very slow off the line, but he still holds P2. It seems like turn 1 is clean. No incidents at the moment. But Hokage and Rigraf side by side. Turn 2 may have incidents, however. Nope. Okay, you're disqualified.
I couldn't move my car. So, there you go. I'm going to turn off my...
That's fine. That's still... Disqualified is still good. Anyway, Shai leads by almost a second already. Rigraf keeps P2 despite a slow getaway. Hokage... keeping P3 in that Aston Martin. Then Christian Cummins P4 with Big Mama Frank, the runner-up in the championship, right behind him in P5. So everyone, Chonk and Ben also battling at the very back for P12. Chonk has the inside line into the chicane. Oh, but Ben has the inside line into the next part, and he gets that done. Around the outside, so nice racing between those two. This will be a major DRS train as well. Actually, I forgot to say that in qualifying. So it'll be a DRS train.
Yeah.
Some parts of the field.
It's gonna be really important. When you look at the grid, one thing I noticed combined, look at the difference. We have Shry on hards, Rigraff on softs, and Hokage on mediums, and it's a bit of a mix-up all over the grid. So really interesting to see. Yeah.
Surprised people went cross. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming the drivers on softs are going to go to hards, and then the guys that are on the hards, depending on safety cars as well, that could influence the race. We might see them on softs or mediums depending on where it goes, and everyone's on mediums. I would predict hards towards the end of the race if all goes as planned. As you mentioned earlier, and thank you for covering the race start there, Shry is in the lead. He's got to be a little bit careful though, because Rigraff, having the tire advantage for now, could take advantage of that and pull away, having those two drivers pulling away completely. Hokage Roldy is just about out of DRS zone. He's climbed back into it. So he for a second he was behind that second mark on Rigraff, and starting this lap, the DRS zones will be activated in lap 3, and so it'll be really important for Hokage to try to get back or as close as possible to Rigraff. Otherwise, currently he's just about off of the pace, maybe a little bit. Leo Hudson climbing into 9th position. Looks like he's actually battling side by side. A little bit of contact there with the Red Bull, and the Haas of Josh Barnes is going to try to take advantage of that situation. Josh currently in P10, and so he gets in front of that Red Bull. Cole Cummins losing 2 positions after a little bit of a bump with Leo Hudson in the Mercedes. So a little bit of battling. You see the pack is starting to split into twos. There's the back order starting from P9 down to P13. Sadly for Duels, he's not really in the race there. He's more like cruising. And in the front, we've got, Shry and Rigraff kind of pulling away together. Hokage trying to do his best to get within that 1 second, but he's just dropped out of that, and that's going to be crucial for him. That's going to fall off of it completely. Once Rigraff gets that DRS power on Shry, not only is he going to grab the lead of the race, as I expect him to do so right now, as he is doing, that top end speed is going to be working for him. Down into turn 1 he goes a little bit deep and wide, and Shry on the hard tires is going to get back into the lead. So Rigraff outbraked himself into turn 1 after overtaking for the lead, and so he's going to have to do that all over again. Luckily there was no incident there, but Rigraff is very lucky to be still close enough to Shry after that action there.
Yeah, you expect the soft tires to be much quicker than the hards right now, but yeah, he overshot the corner, so Shry got that place back on those hards, which are a very durable tire, but are very slow, especially compared to the softs.
Yeah, slow, and I personally find the rears are way sleepy on the hards. I think it's just a bit difficult to get the temperature into them. The temperature issues tend to rise a lot on the front tires compared to the rears. Again, depending on the setup, that could affect that. Keeping an eye on Dr. So Good here, that is Christian Cummins and the Alpine. He's got himself in a position, Hokage actually got himself in a vulnerable position. Not being able to stay within the DRS of Rigraff and Shry, as Rigraff, this time he makes it work for the lead, doesn't overshoot himself. There is a sector yellow 1, and that's Big Mama Frank. That's Big Mama Frank and P10 currently actually dropping down to P13, back of the pack. Looks like I don't know if he had contact. Did you see something combined?
No, I just got the last minute of it. So, he's got damage he's got damage on the front right end plate. Yeah,
that's definitely crucial damage. He's got to go in the pits. He's got to get that fixed. I don't know if he made contact. Definitely made contact with something for that to have damage. I don't know with who, though. That's something that will be talked about and discussed probably after the race. But for the run-over up in the championship to Shry is, keeping up with Rigraff here, battling for the lead. Now Joseph Huerta has got to already on lap 5 try to probably start making some prayers or sacrificing some children into a volcano because he needs that safety car.
Yeah, well, he either got hit or he got spun himself, which I don't know, but we'll see what happens. But Rigraff is defending the inside line from Shry again into turn 1. Can Shry go around the outside? Yes, he does. He makes it stick around the outside, back
Great
into
move.
the lead. Yes, turn 1 on the outside is very good to do. It's like a better line in a way, so it's a good move there from Shry. Back into the lead, the championship leader retakes the lead. MVA though, battling with Christian Cummins for P4. Oh gosh.
All right, as combined YouTubers trying to regain his soul there. NVA, yeah, indeed battling with Christian Cummins there, and there's another sector 2. Oh, and is that 2 cars off? I believe that is Ben that went off, and who is that behind him? There's the Alpine of Chonk as well. Now, I don't know if that was due to contact. I don't see any damage on any of the cars. So, seems like it was just 2 isolated incidents on that same corner, which, quite honestly, that corner, which is turn 7, I would believe. Yeah, going down the hill, the downhill right-hander, turn 7, and then you have a little bit of a kink. And then on that other right-hander you have, you gotta be really careful to not touch that curve. That curve, if your car is low and Chonk is going through the pits, I do believe he might be changing your front wing, so maybe he has damage that we do not see. He's going in for the hards, however. So not changing his wings, but going for the hards. So maybe he's gonna try a strategy there where he's hoping to get a safety car and get back into the pack from there. But as I was saying, yeah, turn 7, that left-hand curve, if you get onto it, you'll definitely get a skid, and that's going to drag you right off the track, and really, really hard to recover from that. So that is one of the possibilities that could be happening on this track, and I think that's what happened to Chonk. And Ben Fitzdick gaining a position on Duncan and the Alfa Romeo for P6, 2 reserve drivers, 2 drivers with great pace in them. And they're showing it over here already.
I think he made a move into the chicane there.
He did.
Fitzdick. So it's a good move there, but he's coming back. Duncan is coming back, and as I was saying before I decided to choke on my food, MVA passed Christian Cummins for P3 there, and Hokage dropping 2 places actually.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So that's what I was mentioning earlier. So in this action, NVA gains a position on Christian. Duncan gets the position back on Fitzdick cleanly on the main straight. But yeah, Hokage, having started in P3, loses 2 positions. 2 hard tire runners, actually. So race pace is maybe lacking a little bit. And obviously the fact that he's been left in a vulnerable position, having lost out of DRS, and there's another flag in sector 2. I'm not seeing.
Think this Chonk is in again for the mediums.
Oh, so Chonk is in. Is there actually repairing, or is he? Okay, so I might be trying to go long on the mediums. I don't know what Chonk is doing. He's just about to get lapped by Shry. Okay, and the sector flag was Duels doing the very fair thing to pull over on the blue flags there. So, Duels getting some experience around the lap, trying to get some race pace into there, his first league race with us. So welcome to the league, and definitely a big thanks to being good gentlemen, good sportsmanship, moving over on the blue flags, and keep on going.
Yeah, exactly. We like to see it. No matter what pace you are, we appreciate your driving as well in the league.
And what's worth noting, right? And being a new driver, I don't know if that was mentioned to him. Duels is currently in P14. I got disqualified because I'm in P15 there. But I mean, he's gonna get points nonetheless, and this league would give points to every driver from P1 to P20. And so what that means is that even if he does end the race in P14. As Hokage kind of went a little bit wide there in that corner. I think he's struggling that outside of that chicane. Duncan kind of flew by him, and Duncan's in P5. And also, I don't know if he's getting DRS. No, he won't be getting DRS, so he's got to defend himself. Oh no, he's in DRS. Sorry, he definitely does has DRS on Dr. So Good. And Rigraff is the first driver to actually go into the pits. And from the soft tires. So soft tires lasted only 10 laps. And he's going into the hards, making the hards last 26 laps, when usually the best strategy for hards is 19 laps. So really interesting strategy from Rigraff. We'll see how that works out for him. Just to conclude, before I let you talk on Combine, and just to conclude on duels, P14 does give him a good amount of points. And for Williams, being the only driver for Williams, I'm sure the team principal, I believe Dan in Williams, would be really happy and content to have this driver get some experience and get some points for Williams nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly. I think he'll get half points because he's a reserve, but still, I mean, it's still good.
Grab what you can.
Was it? Reserves get half points? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but they used to.
Yeah, usually they do.
Yeah, so that means that 14th place is,
I'm
let's
not
see,
sure how many points that is.
I think it's 7. So I mean that means that he'll get 3 or 4.
I don't know if we round up or down.
There's no 0.5, so it's rounded up.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kiesler and Cole Cummins battling. Cole Cummins got a position to P7. Yeah, as we saw, Hokage dropping back before as well, so he's back up into P5 now. I think there was another person pitting, potentially.
Potentially.
Yeah, Shrine now 3.7 seconds in the lead.
Yeah, Shry, I gotta say this, Shry showed quite some pace on the hards already, being able to stay in front of a driver that had the soft tires. I think near the end of the race, when Shry does do the shift to either the mediums or the softs, I think, with the less weight from the fuel tank, I think it's a bit in the bag for him, unless there's a mistake or an incident, which sadly Shry has got 2 this season. In Silverstone at the very end of the race, and last race in Spa, with the incident with Joe Goran at the bus stop chicane just as the race was ending. And Aiden Duncan is now in podium positions. That is a move for P3 in front of the Alpine of Christian Cummins, a reserve driver in the Alfa Romeo, who's eventually thinking about finding himself a full-time seat once this baseball season ends. Currently showing he's got pace. So team principal keeping an eye out. There's maybe drivers who are, there's still driver transfers that could be made mid-season across all divisions. Sadly, I think currently we're going through that kind of period where the early season excitement kind of dwindles down a little bit, and some drivers tend to not be as motivated anymore. Maybe they're not as happy with the season as they thought it would be, and some drivers don't race anymore. You mentioned about Aaron Grain deciding to retire from Division 3 season. We have Division 1 Sean Moriarty, who's also retired. We got rumors of other drivers who are thinking of not driving anymore, so we're gonna have new drivers coming in soon enough across all divisions.
Wait, which one is retiring from Division 1?
The Haas driver is Sean Moriarty. Second seat of Sean driver Prof, as we would see on the
oh yeah,
the
okay.
EA, that would be his gamer tag. Decided to call it quits, and I believe for our younger drivers in our league, school starting up or college starting up makes it a little bit difficult to balance both.
Yeah, it's probably school starting or work starting or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, more busy stuff. Anyway, this DRS train not having much action right now, so obviously we're going a bit off topic, but
no, well, I mean, there's only 14 drivers too, right? So there's
exactly.
some things going on, but Hokage really trying to keep up with Doctor's so good, the Alpine, and there's a bit of the DRS train a little bit between from Duncan going down to Fitz Dickwell. Those drivers are following closely. They're all into the DRS within DRS from each other. I believe, yeah, they're all from DRS from each other. Duncan's gonna try to defend an attack from the Alpine. The Alpine goes into the inside. Duncan keeping a wide line there. And look at that, the grip of the medium tires working for him, keeping it clean and smooth on the outside. Does a great defense there, and Duncan keeps his podium position. But he's going to have to keep doing that, lap after lap, and that becomes really difficult because, as I mentioned earlier, battery regeneration is very, very light over here on this track, and so eventually, as well, his medium tires were 13 laps old mediums. They're going to start dropping off, and he should be feeling them just about now or in the next couple laps, while the hard tires are still going to be feeling good. I think one driver who's going to be struggling very soon and who should be considering pitting is Fitz Dickwell, but he's in the DRS, so, you got to think about track position. Getting that DRS on the main straight is really important and crucial. If you fall off the DRS, we saw it happen with Kage Rolde in the beginning of the race. If you fall off the DRS, you miss out on a lot of top-end speed in the main straight. So maybe Fitz Dickwell is going to consider keep lapping, and there he goes for a 14th lap. And this time, the Alpine of Christian Cummins does make it back onto the podium position, P3 for him. Duncan loses that to him. Duncan didn't really battle it with the battery this time. Kind of let him have it. Duncan really drained. Christian drained his battery to do the overtake happen. So now that Alpine is going to be in a more vulnerable position, not only to Duncan, but maybe even to Hokage down on the next straight. And so that's something we've got to keep an eye on. That's a great battle between these three drivers as we're starting to see Fitz Dickwell, I think, falling a little bit behind of the pack. And I think that's just his tires screaming for mercy.
Yeah. So let's see what Hokage can do. I don't think he can do much with the DRS train still. But yes, as you're saying, Christian Cummins is very low on battery and it's hard to get it back here because there's no real heavy braking zone aside from the chicane. So you have to recover that. But so the medium runners should be pitting soon, actually, for probably the hards. As here comes the Alfa Romeo again. Oh, Duncan. he's side by side towards turn 2. He backs out of it. Probably smartly. It's a good attempt, but didn't quite pay off.
Yeah, a good defense there. It looked like the Alpine at some point overshot it completely. And he actually defended pretty well, but that's probably showing, I don't know if that's setup related or just that he used all his battery to defend it. But he's got a little bit more pace than Duncan. Duncan's now 8/10ths behind him. When we watch them race, it looks like it's much closer to one another. But if we drive on board here, let's go on board with Duncan. He's got the DRS still on Christian Cummins here. He's got technically the tire advantage, although his mediums, as I mentioned, should start falling off a little bit. And let's see how much he can catch him by here. He's just about 7.5/10ths once he activates the DRS. Look at the difference in speeds. We're already across the line and we're at 5/10ths, but that is not enough to get into a fighting position. Christian is covering the inside line. However, is that a double? Did I just miss a double overtake from Josh Barnsley on the Mercedes? I just saw Kaiser kind of jump up on the grid quite suddenly, and there was somebody in the pits as well. That was Fitz Dickwell who did go into the pits.
He's going on to the mediums.
Oh, well, he's going to go long on the mediums, is he? That's almost 20 laps on the mediums. I think he's going to regret that near the end of the race. And then Rigraff and Leo Hudson are switching. I don't know if they're actually racing or they kind of did a switch. Rigraff definitely has a newer tires, so he should have the better pace.
I'm pretty sure Fitz Dickwell started on hards. I don't know why that was very early. No, he started on softs.
He was on softs. Yeah, he was on softs. So his softs were kind of done, and I'm rather surprised that he went on mediums. I think hards would have been the better option, but it could work in his favor if there's a safety car and he could go back on a newer set of softs or mediums at that point. But, you know, we'll see. There are still 18 laps to go. We're midway in the race here as Rigraff is now P4 as he drives by Keisler, Josh Barnsley in the Haas, and two drivers, Hokage, Rodi, and Duncan in the pits, and it's Duncan that is still ahead of Hokage. Maybe the undercut might work here on the Alpine of Christian Cummins. We'll see how that works for them. It's a very short pit lane, 60 kilometers an hour, so a little bit slower than the usual 80 where we see in most tracks. However, I'm not sure how strong the undercut here is, so you know, we're gonna find out together.
Hokage has just dropped behind Fitzdickwell due to the undercut, so that's unfortunate. And also Duncan dropped behind Ben, who hasn't pitted yet. So he's gonna have to deal with the traffic.
Yeah, that could slow Duncan significantly in that regards, and you're right.
Oh! The AlphaTauri going up the inside into that corner. That's very unconventional. But he's got that done, maybe. Yeah, he has got that done. Fitzdickwell.
Wow.
With a very great move into that. That's a very... Oh, and Chonk has retired. He's in the pits. That's in the pits.
Yeah, that's a retirement in the pits. And so, ultimately...
I don't know why he did that, because he would have got points, and he's 56 seconds in front of the reserve we were talking about earlier, as Fitzdickwell passes Ben for P8. And Hokage going for the move on Duncan now, around the outside turn 1.
Oh, Ben is spun, and I think there's contact with Hokage. I don't know if there's damage there with on the Aston Martin, but the McLaren has begun to spun, and Hokage was in a very tricky position to avoid that incident. Looks like you missed a bigger part of it. I don't see any damage on his wing, so maybe a little bit of a light contact there on Ben. A little bit unfortunate there. I think Ben was maybe trying to give some space for them to get by, and unfortunately that was that for him. And Hokage now drops back a little bit. So far, Fitzdickwell is maybe the bigger winner from the pit strategy for now. We're still waiting on pit strategies from Shry, from NVA, Christian Cummins, Josh Barnsley, Leo Hudson, and Cole Cummins. So the grid is a little bit upside down currently. As I say that, NVA and the Alpine of Christian Cummins are coming into the pits right now. So let's keep an eye on Christian. Let's see where he pops out, gets back on track. He's got a really quick pit stop there. His crewmates did a good job. We're seeing Josh Barnsley also in the pits in the back. And through turn 1, look at this. Fitzdickwell gets it ahead of him. So does Duncan. And maybe even Hokage does. They're side by side. Oh, that was very close. Hokage was able to slot right behind him just in turn 2 there. And Hokage is going to try to, you see, being a little bit more aggressive. And, you know, Christian's got a defender. Look how close Hokage is to the Alpine there. Hokage's got to be careful. The Alpine of Dr. Sogut does not have hot tires, right? They got to get up to temp, and that takes maybe a little bit of time. As there's a driver, I think that had a little bit of a moment, and that's NVA, who lost a bit of time and position to Fitzdickwell. So quite suddenly, Fitzdickwell, in just a couple laps, has gained a number of positions and is now sitting P5.
Yeah, well, Fitzdickwell has had those mediums are very, very much working out for him. Right now, they're much better than the hards are. But yeah, Hokage was very unlucky there with the McLaren spinning. But here we go. He's going to be having DRS on. Oh, he's almost got taken out there as Cole Cummins is disconnected.
Oh my goodness.
So that's unfortunate.
Well, he's going to have to get back,
Yeah,
but on
Hokage
his AI is definitely going to be driving much slower than
Hokage, yeah,
usually.
passed Christian Cummins. And yeah, MVA dropped places. Also, we had Shry pitting earlier, and Rigraff has got into the lead again. So he's out in P2.
Yeah, and I think Rigraff is not going to be pitting again. I do believe he pit a bit earlier because he wasn't on the softs, right? He pit lap 10 from the softs. So he's trying to get the entire race done on these hards. Shry is on fresh mediums, and if you look at the intervals, when I started talking, there was a little bit over 3 seconds between Rigraff and Shry. We're talking about, now it's at 2.5, and it is rapidly dwindling. Leo Hudson's going to try to keep up a little bit with Shry there. He's now in DRS zone. So, and he still's got to pit. So, Leo Hudson and Cole Cummins has got to pit. And because Cole Cummins, his AI took over from that disconnection, his AI is definitely going to go into the pits and is going to fit the soft tires. Because the AI decided to put their own strategy at that point. Decided soft tires for 14 laps. Not ideal, but I do believe that's what Cole Cummins was going for nonetheless. So, I think he'll be okay with that when he does find a way to get back into the game. And in that situation, well, now we've got Fitzdickwill battling with NVA. NVA overtook him in the main straight, and so NVA back in P4, Fitzdickwill in P5, and there's definitely battling in the back. Duncan Hokage and Christian Cummins. You know what? Combined Division 3 so far tonight, they're really clean racing.
Yeah, well, it's not hard with not many drivers, but yes, it's definitely been very fun to watch as Hokage go for a move, or don't. He needs to be patient with that. Don't go for a move with the chicane. He's got another zone coming up. He needs to be. He had a few errors in the first stint, dropping him down from that top 3 position, and now he has to make a little bit of a recovery. Let's see, he's gonna go for P6 now on Duncan. Here he goes, and he should get that done, and he does. And he's got there into P6. Oh, the Alpine going for the move on the Alfa Romeo as well. Aggressive from Christian Cummins, getting the move done on Duncan. So Duncan losing 2 places there, down to P8. And yeah, so that was very good racing there. Fitzdickwill still behind MVA by less than a second. And also Big Mama Frank behind his AI teammate. Actually, no, he's not AI anymore. Cole Cummins has just joined back.
Oh, has he? Okay, I've not noticed that on my end, so good to see he's back.
He's not ghosted, so yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. No, he's not ghosted unless he will look ghosted once Big Mar Frank gets back closer to him. But I'm guessing on the difference of pace, Cole Cummins got the fresher tires and he's suddenly getting some distance on Joseph Herrera. So yeah, like you said, he is definitely back. Hokage Roldy gonna try to defend on the Alpine, and that's gonna be a little bit difficult to do as he's already lost a position quite early in the pit straight. And turn 1 down they go. He's gonna try to fight it back. No, he will not. He doesn't have the opportunity to do so. Christian Cummins back into P6 in the back behind them. Duncan trying to get back into the positions. I think the hard tires are maybe a little bit more difficult for him as he's lost some pace quite early on as well. And we also completely missed that Rigraff is flown by Rigraff a couple laps ago, I believe, and now is nearly 4 seconds ahead in the lead. And so I don't want to call us any broadcaster's curse, but he's put himself in a great position for a lot of points tonight. However, the 2 Mercedes so far, Rigraff and Leo Hudson are sitting 2 and 3, and for the constructors, that's definitely a good showing for them. Although Leo Hudson still has to pit, and look at that, 23 laps on the hards. He's sitting P3. I'm trying to figure out. He's definitely going to be quite far behind, like the group of drivers behind him, and so I would assume he's going to come back on track, maybe P10. Once that is done, but he's just gonna have so much pace. We'll have to see how many positions he could gain back to get those points for Mercedes.
Yeah, good showing from Mercedes so far. Oh, my mic was up. Yeah, good showing from Mercedes so far. In P2 and P3. They're leading the constructors, of course. So, oh, Zakage touched the grass! He spun! He touched the grass.
That is that one corner where you don't want to get off track too far. Either get on the grass or on that double curb there. The middle line tends to, if get get the car lifted a little bit, and you lose complete traction there, and it pushes you off the track completely. Sadly for Hokage, his race starting in P3, great qualifying for him. 10 laps to go, and there's a spin like that. Not a lot of drivers on track, so you can't really get into DRS, and now he's dropped to P9. And Leo Hudson's in the pits, by the way.
Okay, Leo Hudson is in the pits.
For softs, 10 laps for softs.
Yeah.
So he
Also,
is doing the strategy that his teammate was doing, by the way.
Christian Cummins also passed Fitzstickwell. But actually, Hokage didn't like lose traction. He just clipped the grass on the entry to the corner. I saw it.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, for sure. So now Hudson comes back P9. So not exactly, that's around where I thought he would be. But he's going to be flying. So Rigraff did 10 laps to begin on this race. He did on the softs. And Leo Hudson did the alternate strategy, the complete opposite. So starting on the hards, doing 26 laps, and now going on the softs for the next 10 laps. And so that's what it's going to be for them. And I think that's an interesting strategy. I'm not sure it will be working that great for them, either one of them. Rigraff sure has got the pace to be P2, but if you look at his tires compared to maybe NVA and drivers behind him, I think he's going to start losing some pace sooner than later compared to them. So I might be wrong. We'll see. But I'm expecting NVA to start having that interval, not be sitting around 6 seconds, but probably closer to the 4 seconds and lower in the next couple laps, as the hards are starting to drop off and the mediums are still good to go for a good number of laps. There's another driver in the pits. I believe that's Big Mama Frank. So he's gone on the softs as well. So that's going to be 9 laps for him in this race. There's 9 laps to go. And so that'll be him on soft to end the race. So we're going to have a little bit of a competition between him and Leo Hudson for fastest lap. We'll see who's going to be the winner in that. Duels letting Big Mama Frank go again, trying to show his worth here in the league and look at him go, trying to keep up. He's got a lot quicker. He's got higher top end speeds. So I'm wondering if it's just it's mainly a setup issue. That could be something. Maybe that he didn't take in consideration. That might explain the difference in speed for now. But you know, P13 getting some points, getting it done. Up front, I believe Christian Cummins is battling with NVA here. And so there's a double battle going on. So there's NVA versus Christian Cummins. And in the back, it is Fitzstickwell versus Duncan.
Yeah, they were just side by side through that first sector. So Duncan backed out of the move to turn 2, though.
Yeah, Duncan is his first race in a number of months. Hasn't really touched the new game so far. So I think his objective this race, you know, he's going to try to fight, but he wants to make it clean. And if he's not 100% confident in the overtake or fighting side by side, I think he's going to prefer to back out instead of causing an incident.
Yeah, for sure. If he's not very experienced, then makes sense that he's backing out more.
Oh, I don't know if there's a bit of a touch, but it looks like Leo Hudson made it past Hokage Roldy in the chicane, as is Christian Cummins just before entering turn 1 on NVA. So the Alpine is let loose. He's been behind NVA for a little bit. I don't know if NVA's is going to be able to keep up with him. Already 0.5 seconds behind him into the end of Sector 1 over here. Leo Hudson gaining another position, this time on Josh Barnsley in the Haas for P7. So gaining already 2 positions since pitting for the fresher softs. 10 seconds away from Duncan in P6. About 6 seconds to go. The tire differences, though, will probably allow him to catch up, maybe even make the overtake. Hokage Roldy also makes an overtake on the Haas of Kaisler. I'm wondering if there was a moment there or something. Looks like Kaisler looked offline a little bit at some point on that corner.
Doesn't look like he has any damage. So he might have just made a mistake.
Yeah, it looks like maybe just a moment of oversteer and overcorrection.
He is going very slow though. Like, very slow. So I don't know what's going on. He's short shifting a lot. Something's going on there with
His fuel
I
light
don't
seems
know.
on my end on telemetry. Is that what I'm seeing?
He's going very slow. Like he's actually like letting Cole Cummins catch up to him. Like he's going extremely slow. I don't know what's going on. Cole Cummins is going to get the position on him.
For sure. I mean, he lost 3 seconds in a single lap to Hokage. But I'm seeing the fuel light on, so I don't know if he's just trying to save his fuel or what is going on. He's moved out of the way of Cole Cummins.
I don't know what's going on right now.
And Hokage Road, I believe, went off track again, and definitely he did. His tires let a nice trail of sand there, so he was in the dirt for a second. Same corner again. That's in turn... hold on, I believe that was turn 8, or just between turn 7 and 8 there. And very slow in that chicane as well. So suddenly Cole Cummins finding himself from P10 to P8 and just a couple corners due to driver errors ahead of him. However, and the driver a little bit further up the pack, Christian Cummins has successfully defended twice on NVA, still on the podium position in P3. Fitz Dickwell also defending from Duncan. Meanwhile, Leo Hudson charging to the front of the pack, went from 10 seconds distance behind Duncan, is now sitting at 7 seconds with 5 laps to go. So he might be looking to make a move for P6 at this rate. We'll see how those tires do last until the end of the race, but that could be where he's going to try to end up.
Oh, as the Alpha Romeo of Duncan had a bit of a snap there.
Yeah, that
He
cost him a
saved
little
it.
bit of time. Yeah, luckily for him, he has saved it. I want to go back something to I was mentioning earlier, and I was thinking NVA would be doing it, but so far it is Christian Cummins doing that. P2 might, and I say might, be up for grabs, and I'm just scrolling through drivers. I've spotted another driver with a fuel light on, and that is Rigraff in P2. So his tires, 22 lap old tires. He's definitely the driver on the track with the most worn tires, and I believe he's gonna have to start lifting and coasting to make sure his fuel lasts him the entirety of the race. As now he's in danger to not have enough fuel for this race, and so now his time that was about 6 seconds and above to P3 is now 4.4 seconds at that moment, and so that's something worth keeping an eye on. And there's definitely a side-by-side battle that was happening between Cole Cummins and Hokage. Rolled a little bit of a tiny tap there from Hokage. Keeps it clean, though. And Hokage is going to try maybe just before going to the downhill corner. No, he does not make a move there. That would have been very wise of him to back out from there. And so Hokage and Cole Cummins, they're battling each other. Hokage is able to stick with it. It looks like Cole Cummins, his tires on the softs, 10 lap olds, starting to have a little bit of an issue. And there's a sector yellow flag. I don't know who had a moment. I didn't see any loss of positions or anything there, so I'm not quite sure what happened.
Okay. So NVA had DRS on Christian Cummins, but he completely backed out on the straight. I don't know why. They just don't seem to be fighting each other now on those last few laps. Or he's always waiting for the last lap, maybe, I don't know.
It could be either that, because he doesn't want to fight, he wants to bring it to Rigraff. Maybe that could be his strategy call. His engineer and Ferrari might be making that kind of strategy call. Although a Ferrari engineer making a strategy call does seem kind of a little bit loopty-loopty. However,
Ferrari, yes.
yeah, we all know what we mean over here. However, he could be another driver who's looking at his fuel gauge and wondering, am I going to make it till the end of the race?
Or maybe he does have low fuel like Kiesler did. And speaking of him, he's dropping down to P11 now. he's done like insane fuel saving. He's just gone very slow, and Ben will catch up to him and get P10. Here we go though. NVA having DRS and finally gets past Christian Cummins. I don't know why he backed out last time, but there you go. He gets the podium place.
So back in the podium positions for NVA. He's now, despite that, he's gained on Rigraph. He's at 3.7 seconds, so it might be a little bit too late to do so with 3 laps to go, a little bit under 3 laps. However, Rigraph is going to be harvesting his battery because he might need it. Given the fact that he's low on fuel, just as Keisler is, he doesn't seem to be lifting much, though. So I think he's just going to try to push as much as he can and bring it all the way till the end. Meanwhile, in the back, Duncan also got ahead of Fitz-Dickwell, who's trying to fight back for it really, really tightly behind him. He's really close to his gearbox on the last couple corners. Let's keep an eye on Fitz-Dickwell. He's made a move here on the inside of this corner on Duncan. Caught him sleeping once before. Doesn't make it happen again. However, he's got the DRS advantage. Will he try to take advantage in this situation? Down before the chicane. No, keeps it clean. A little bit hard on the chicane. Kind of saw that car lift a little bit on my end. I don't know if that's just a visual glitch or not. But over here, certainly Duncan is going to be vulnerable, and the DRS is going to be... DRS and the slipstream is extremely powerful over here, and Dickwell is going to go back into P5. I think him and Duncan are going to be trading positions lap in and lap out. However, there's only 2 laps to go, lap 35 or 36. So far, our race leader is Ed Schry. He's 14 seconds ahead of everybody. Definitely a dominant performance for him. He's just got to cruise it home. Rigraph, look at the time difference between him and NVA now. It's 2.4 seconds, and so NVA is gaining a little over 1 second per lap, so he's going to be right on his tail by the end of this race. And if he does run out of fuel, Rigraph is going to find himself maybe falling out of podium contention, so that's something we've got to keep an eye on until the end of this race, and that's going to happen quite now. Look at this. His fuel gauge just went into the bright red, and it's blinking. I'm wondering if yeah, he's in the negatives now, and so he's not gonna be... I don't think he's gonna be able to do a full lap here.
He could well lose out.
He's dumping ERS. He's trying to get as fast as possible now.
Maybe there's a possibility that he doesn't even get a podium if he runs out of fuel before the end.
I think that could happen. And side by side on the inside, Duncan goes this time for P5. He's going against Fitz-Dickwell. Clean racing once again of the entirety of the race between those 2 drivers. Really great seeing that from both reserve drivers, 2 drivers who you normally keep it very clean on track, Fitz-Dickwell and Duncan. Alfa Romeo versus AlphaTauri, so the Alpha drivers doing so. Keeping track on Rigraph. Here we go. I'm wondering where we're going to see that sudden drop of power, because the fuel saving mode is on hard, and the flags are up. So I think he's run out of fuel just now. I think it's just happened. He's ghosted. The yellow flags are going on. NVA is going to try to drive right through him as he can, and so Rigraph is falling out of podium positions. It's a race win for Ashrai, who's crossed the finish line. We're not keeping tabs on him because we're seeing this dramatic end for this Mercedes driver, Rigraph. Will he keep P4 at least? It's going to be really tight. Duncan's going to dump in the batteries. Will he be able to do so? No, he can't. Duncan's going to get a position. Gets P4 for Duncan and P5 for Dickwell. Rigraph losing out. Did his teammate get by him? No. So Rigraph goes from P2 to P6 from the lack of fuel in his tank. And it is a 1-2-3. So it is Shrine P1, a dominant performance on his end. NVA in P2, P2 position given to him by Rigraph. And Christian Cummins on the podium in the Alpine. Great race from those 3. Duncan, look at that. Just at the foot of the podium, him and Fitz-Dickwell. Great race for the drivers who are reserving. I think Rigraph as well was reserving, so definitely got it done. And the last to go across the line is going to be Josh Barnsley, also with the lack of fuel here. I think he's going to just about lose out on the fuel here. He's actually been able to keep it all the way till the end. But that's going to be P12 for him.
The Big Mama Frank recovered to P10. He passed Ben at the end, so he at least has something from this race after a bit of a disaster after that early spin. And
Yeah.
not having a safety car ever coming out.
Yeah, no safety car. I mean, these and no actual, from what I've seen, no big incidents or big contacts causing damage, except maybe Big Mama Frank, who did have his wing damaged earlier in the race, and we missed that on the stream, so I don't know if that was due to just him himself or contact with another driver and what the circumstances of that was. Nonetheless, with only 14 drivers, not a lot of incidents, but drivers seemed to find a partner out there on track and had a lot of side-by-side battles. Duncan with Fitz, we saw Rigraph in the beginning with Shry as well, NVA and Christian Cummins as well at some point, and so all throughout the grid we had great battles going on. Combined, we're going to move on to our interviews. Let's just get Shry and NVA and Christian Cummins in our booth here.
So ended up with the duels, ended up finishing the race, albeit 3 laps down, but he still finished and got some points for Williams there. So there we go.
Yeah, it's a good first race for him, so I'm thinking driver that's probably going to be able to learn a couple things and gain some pace, and he's got points for Williams, definitely.
Yes.
All right.
Let's see these interviews. We have all 3 of them in here. Let's go.
Oh, good. Look at this. They're great. All right, so let's get our P3 finisher, Christian Cummins, in here in our broadcast booth. Christian, P3 maybe given to you a little bit, given the situation of having Rigraph run out of fuel. However, you had a really good race. How did this one feel?
Felt great, dude. Yeah, the whole last 10 laps, NVA and I were just kind of fuel saving. We were both running out of fuel there, so it was just a little battle between who's gonna have the most fuel at the end, and then Riff Raff ran out and gifted me that P3, so that was fun. But yeah, that was a good race.
It was indeed. You're definitely having some aggressive fights out there as well.
Oh yeah.
Nice made some great moves.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it back. I don't really. What are you referring to?
No. No, I'm not saying it was bad. It was good. It was good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what I thought. But no, yeah. I wish I'd have gone 2 laps over on fuel, or maybe a little more. I don't know. I went only a lap and a half, but caught myself at the end. I would have ran out if I didn't start fuel saving.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were fuel saving at the end.
Oh yeah, that was. Whoever's got gas in the tank is doing good at the end there. That was basically how it went.
So, Christian, I'm looking at the standings right now. I'm noticing you did not start the last 3 races. However, when you do race, you get quite a good number of points. Are we gonna have you? Okay, let me rephrase that. Is your attendance gonna be a little bit better for the rest of the season as you have a chance to climb very high onto the standings in the Division 3?
Yeah, for sure. I was just traveling the last 3 weeks, so I skipped some races, but I'll be there.
Cool.
At least top 5 podiums, at least.
Cool. That's nice.
Yeah, looking at that, because there's a lot of drivers that missed out, you're probably gonna jump from P14 maybe to P8.
Nice.
So yeah, that's 25 points. So yeah, maybe to P8. I'm not 100% sure, doing really quick maths, but that's what it is. Great. So congratulations again for P3, Mr. Cummins, and
yeah.
Hopefully we'll see you more often in the broadcast booth for podium interviews.
For sure. Thanks. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Yep. See ya.
Peace.
Great. Let's bring in our P2 finisher, NVA, probably in the middle of a discussion with Shry.
Yes,
I feel getting that P2 gifted to you a little bit by Rigraph, but I'm pretty sure it feels good nonetheless.
Well, I noticed at like lap 18, I was about a quarter lap under on fuel, so I was lifting and coasting like hell for the second half of the race. Just glad I got to the finish without succumbing to the same fate as Rigraff and running out of fuel there.
Yeah, it seems like both you and Christian Cummins were basically say a fuel saving at the same time, and I think combined, you mentioned it in the race at some point, NVA was in the main straight and practically lifted down on the main straight, just desperately trying to get fuel, save enough fuel for the end of the race, because indeed Rigraff just was never able to get past that. The last two corners were death for him in regards to fuel.
Yeah. Yeah, it's brutal. Running out the fuel burn here is brutal, and I just, kind of forgot it going into the race. I was lifting probably about like the 200-meter board on that start-finish straight for like 5 or 10 laps there.
Yeah, you lifted off when you were in the DRS and behind. So yeah, I was just wondering. But then, yeah, now it explains that you're out of fuel. So
Yeah, it wasn't so much a strategy as it was just doing anything I could to recover some fuel there.
yeah, exactly.
I'm keeping an eye on the standings in VA. You're currently sitting P6. Given the fact that there's a couple drivers that are missed out, you might be finding yourself going up all the way, maybe even to P3. I think you'll be ahead of Labib, who's got about 20 points ahead of you, or 19 points, I should say. So, given that fact, is that your push towards maybe fighting for the top drivers in the Division 3 standings?
As much as I would like to, I'm missing the next 2 races. So I just, it's not going to be possible with, missing 3 races in a 10-race season. But, I'm happy to bring in good points for Ferrari while I'm still here. And, hopefully whoever they end up getting to reserve can do the same.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, very unfortunate. But,
Especially as the next race is Italy, which is Ferrari's home race.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm, happy to race the races I can, and thank you guys so much for broadcasting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've got you, given a little bit of a mishap from another broadcaster, normally in Division 3, but, luckily for me, I kept all my water in my glass this race. So. All right,
The eruption has been a mercy.
Congratulations on that P2, and hopefully we see you more often on the broadcast for interviews.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a good one.
Okay, Claire. And our P1 finisher, I'm hoping you weren't falling asleep too much on that race. You seem to dominate it in qualifying, dominating from A to Z in the race. Maybe a little bit of a stressful moment in the beginning where Rigraff was fighting you with his soft tires, but in the end, by a landslide, it's a P1 finish for you, Shrai. How does that one feel?
Feels pretty good, especially after last week's pretty bad showing for myself. So I'm glad that I was able to come back and put one on the field. So when Riff Raff pitted on lap 8, I was like, he is not making it to the end on those tires. So I know a lot of people are struggling with fuel. So I definitely fueled correctly on this race.
So far, the entirety of our interviews have been focused on fuel being very difficult to manage. A lot of drivers were doing fuel saving. A lot of drivers at the back of the grid and the front of the grid. You probably saw Rigraff tumble down the order. He was in P2, ended up finishing, I believe, in P6.
6, right in front of Leo's line.
Yeah, exactly. And so he absolutely had no speed in the last 2 corners. So, I mean, at some point were you kind of just coasting and just managing your fuel a little bit at all during the race, or were you confident enough that you were just,
I was up a half a lap at the end of the race, so I had no problems with fuel. So I knew that I was going to be out in front pushing the whole time, so I definitely over-fueled in that sense. So I needed it, though, so it was good. About 20 seconds on everyone, so...
Yeah, it's big points for Haas at that, for both for you
I think
and
it's
for
over
Haas.
40.
Yeah, definitely. I do believe it would be pushing Haas past, for sure, Alfa Romeo for P3.
That might put us into
maybe even-
P1,
Yeah, maybe even.
P2. It's gonna be close.
Yeah,
I think we got 20 on Red Bull this week at least. So
yeah, exactly. So from what I'm looking at the standings, that's what it's looking at. And your lead is definitely increased significantly, given Big Mama Frank's results and the other drivers not being present in this race. And so, it's still we still have. That's the midway.
oh
of the
wow,
season.
we
still
are
have
P1.
5
We're up by
rounds.
1 point. So
There you
yeah,
go.
we have 158 to 157. So
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Enough. Yeah, so that's gonna be
But
interesting to
3
keep
penalties.
tabs on that.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun. Red Bull at 155, so it's gonna be a good battle for the rest of the
Oh.
D3 champs. So
So good. Next up, we got Monza. So
oh, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, Monza's
Yep.
really a fun one. I thought there would be maybe a sprint race in Monza. I think normally is there normally a sprint race in Monza? Or am I just dreaming?
I'm not
In
sure.
Austria,
if there's
there's one.
one race next
Austria,
week.
there's one, but anyways, I vaguely
The
remember
race
a
is-
sprint race in Monza.
Race is
but-
next week, right?
Yeah, there's no.
Monza is next week.
Yeah,
We'll see.
next week, and do we have any weeks off?
September 3rd.
Yeah, we have one last bye week on between Austria and Japan.
Well,
I
it might get one on me. I might not be here next weekend, so
Yeah,
see.
we'll see. I know I'm not for sure, but yeah. Anyways, Shrike, congratulations for that win.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully get some more this season. That's your second race win. Is that your second race win in ZRL for?
Yep.
altogether,
Second
right?
race win this season in 0, yeah.
And in ZRL, definitely a dominant season for
Hopefully
you so
more
far.
to come.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for you. And well, congratulations again, and we'll see you maybe in some other podium interviews.
Thank you so much. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Well, that brings Division 3 to an end combined. So next weekend is Monza. You know, we've talked about a couple with a couple of our drivers. How are you approaching Monza, the Temple of Speed, next weekend?
Well, yeah, it's definitely going to be very chaotic, as Monza usually always is. Generally, I think the last time we raced there, we had like 50 reports or something between the divisions. I don't know, something like that. It was crazy. It was a couple of seasons ago when we last raced there. But yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting race. So, it's definitely going to be fun to spectate.
For sure.
well.
I mean,
All that.
that first corner, the first corner in Monza, I mean, whether it be a league race or not, tends to be very chaotic given that first chicane. And then we're going to have a lot of interesting battles for the rest. Probably going to have a bit of a DRS train as well. I'm really curious to see how drivers are going to manage their setups. You know, in other races would be we wouldn't be surprised to seeing drivers racing with 0-0 wings in Monza. Now it might not be exactly it's not the meta here in this game, so we'll see how much more wings you have to put in to be competitive in Monza. And so that's going to put an end to our stream combined. Thank you for commentating Division 3 with me tonight. Maybe a little bit not what we were expecting tonight, but that is what it was. It was very, very, very fun having you by my side. And also, thank you for not broadcast cursing half the grid.
Oh yeah, it went well. Actually, it went well. I didn't talk about Hokage before he spun.
Yeah, only Hokage. So for those who are still watching us, let's not forget to like and subscribe to our ZRL page. And Division 2 is going to be underway in just about 25 minutes, 10 p.m. Eastern. We're both going to be racing in it, me and myself and combined. And so for those watching, stay tuned. Division 2 racing is coming up in a few moments. And we will see you then. We might have a stream, actually, from Sid Sagar and Magnusson Cube. We'll have the confirmation from that in the next few minutes. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week in Monza for Division 3 at 8 p.m. next Saturday. Good night, everyone.
Yep, see ya.